We're here!
Henry!
I'm glad to see you.
Matthew! Fritz! You're alive!
Of course we're alive.
You can't get rid of us that easily.
I'm almost surprised how happy I am to see the pair of you are all right.
We are now, but we barely made it.
Yeah, it was hard. Fritz ran like a little girl.
Really?
Bollocks! Bloody joker.
Tell us what happened to you.
They gave me a pretty good thrashing as well. It was only in Rattay that I got back in my right mind.
You're not doing too well either, are you?
Right now, I'm a squire for Sir Radzig.
I see you've worked your way up.
And how are you two getting by?
It's shit.
You said it. We're still chopped off to bits, owe the monastery a bundle, and there's no work here.
Not for anyone with more than half a brain, anyway.
No one's interested in two good carpenters in Sasau.
No one.
And we looked everywhere.
Hey, you wouldn't happen to know of anything?
It will really help us out right now.
I'll find you something. You can rely on me.
Thanks, Henry.
We'll pay off the debt, don't you worry.
And where would they hire you to?
Well, we were carpenters in the mines, so wherever they work with wood, I suppose. Forget about construction. After Skalitz, no one will be building for a long time. Just here in Sasau, and they don't want us here. The best chance we have is to work at a mill. People always have to eat. Ideally, we're looking for a job that pays a lot and doesn't require much work.
What other neighbours of ours made it?
Your hunker's in the monastery. That girl really helped us out. That's about all we know. When we ran for it, we upped Teresa, but who knows where she is now? We got separated.
I owe my life to Teresa. She hauled me unconscious to the mill in Rattay and nursed me back to health.
I'm glad she survived. Since you know her so well, why not try asking her if she knows about any work? What? What the hell are you doing?
Good day to you.
Is there any work here for carpenters?
I'm not looking for anyone at the moment.
Matthew and Fritz send their regards.
They survived. My God, I'm glad. They helped me out a lot. And where did you see them?
In Sasau. I bumped into them in front of the tavern. Where else?
And how are they doing?
They're doing fine. The monks brought them back to health. But they don't have work and they're in debt. You wouldn't happen to know of any jobs going for two lazy carpenters?
Not here. And I think it will be the same in all of Rattay. It's overcrowded with refugees and they're all looking for work.
That's bad. Those two need work badly. To keep them out of mischief. You know what they're like.
I do indeed. Try the mills in the smaller hamlets. The miller in Ledechko is old. Maybe he could use some strong hands.
I will. Thanks. How did things work out with the job I arranged?
You did what I asked, but still, Antonia's a widow now. Not all the coin in the world can help if God doesn't will it.
I hope I can be of some humble service to you.
Is there any work here for carpenters?
In this day and age, I'm glad I can support myself.
God save you. What can I do for you?
Teresa, the millmaid, sent me. She said you could use some help.
Some extra pairs of hands would be useful. What do you have in mind?
My friends, two survivors of Skalitz, are looking for work.
And why should I take that?
They're experienced carpenters.
Why not? Carpenters would be helpful. There's a lot of work here at the mill, and I'm not as spry as I used to be. Thomas, my foreman, tries his best, but he ain't up to that kind of work. But they aren't idlers and drunks, are they? I only take in people who are willing to do hard, honest work.
They're good men. From Skalitz. Basically your neighbours. You have to help them.
That's God's own truth. Love thy neighbour as thyself. Tell them I'll give them a chance. We'll talk about pay and a roof over their heads when they get here.
May I serve you?
The miller in Ledechko would be happy to meet you.
You really found work for us?
Of course. I couldn't bear to look at those sour faces of yours a moment longer.
Thanks, Henry. Only
What?
the reward we talked about, well, we haven't got 2 groschen to rub together.
No, that doesn't matter. You'll pay me when you have it.
That we will. Stop by and visit us in a week. We'll pay you back as soon as we get our first wage.
I'd like you to teach me how to be better at stealth.
Certainly.
I'd like to practice the basics.
All right, but it'll cost you. Now, pay close attention.
I am at your service, Sir Knight.
The monastery wants you to pay for treatment. That doesn't sound right.
Leave it be, Hal.
I won't. What happened?
We might have pummeled his face. But don't get involved, Henry. We'll settle it on our own.
Wait, who exactly did you pummel?
Well, he kept on bothering us and... in a nutshell, it was his fault and we're not going to talk about it anymore.
But couldn't there be a way to settle it? Maybe he'd let you off the...
There isn't.
Don't be a twat, Fritz. The two of you are up to your necks in shit, and you're gonna play tough instead of seeing sense.
Go to hell, Henry. You and Elias. You're one as bad as the other.
You're good for nothing, you wretch. I'm not the one who's jobless and almost dying of hunger.
Now you've done it.
I'm honored that a knight such as you takes an interest in me.
What about the crown? Is it finished?
I'm a man of my word. Of course it's finished. Here you have it. Thank the Lord you found that Moldavite. It wouldn't be the same without it.
Another one that's going.
Look, we're doing the best we can, and this kind of attitude isn't helping. I bid you good day.
who are you?
Brother Elias.
What do you do here?
What I can. I'm just trying to help the Skalitz locals as much as I can.
How long have you been helping here?
Since before the refugees arrived. It was much less crowded back then.
And what do you do here exactly?
Mainly, I help Brother Nicodemus. Occasionally, I keep watch at night in case someone takes a turn for the worse. Sometimes I have to hold a patient down, or fetch and carry things.
Do you know anything about healing?
A little. I can manage the basics, but without Brother Nicodemus, I'd never be able to deal with the more difficult cases.
Thank you. I heard you had a fight with Fritz and Matthew.
Heathens.
So it was you they fought with?
Yes, it was me, and I hope I'll never have to see those wastrels again.
They deserve to be ousted, but the debt, how are they ever going to pay it?
I really don't care. Let them live in penury. Brutes.
How much do they owe?
A lot.
Is this enough?
Come now, just a little more and we have a deal.
Well, well, look at you.
Johanka?
Henry?
I'm glad to see you.
Me too. I heard that you're doing well.
Well, that depends.
You're alive. So you're doing well.
What's happening here? Oh my God. Philip and... they're all...
Yes. Where do you think the wounded ended up?
Actually, I had no idea.
Well, now you know. Me and Nicodemus have been trying to keep things under control since Skalitz was raised. Just the two of us.
So can I help at all?
Certainly. You can always use an extra pair of hands here. And it's been like that since the beginning.
I was in a bad way myself back then. They took me to Ratai unconscious and I needed a healer. How's everyone holding up? What can I do?
Holding up? People here are dying, usually needlessly, and I can't do anything about it. We don't have enough food or space or anyone who's willing to help us.
Doesn't anyone help you with nursing these people? You've got scholars all around you.
Scholars, maybe, but they leave the healing up to God. Nicodemus is trying, but everything he knows is from his books.
Can I have a look at them myself? I know a little about healing.
Do you now? And what would you do if you burnt yourself at the forge?
First, you have to cool it down with water. Marigold ointment helps, and it's better if you don't bind it and let it breathe.
You do know what you're talking about. Looks like blacksmiths know about more than just pulling teeth.
Pulling teeth? Nothing to it. As long as you don't squeeze the pincers too hard and crush them.
Well, go and see if anyone needs anything. Just don't go pulling anyone's teeth.
Doesn't the monastery care for them?
They give us some food for them and a place to sleep, but I wouldn't say they help exactly. More like they just tolerate us.
Do you have enough food?
Enough to survive, maybe. But convalescents need feeding up.
Maybe if I brought some meat, some game, that would strengthen them up.
That would be a great help.
Anything else you need?
Look around.
Well, it is a little crowded.
Crowded? I've had to leave some of the sick lying in the open air, even at night. And have you seen what they're lying on?
I'll try to negotiate better conditions with the monastery.
I tried that, out loud. They just nod their heads, but don't move a muscle.
Very well. And how are you doing? You're the only woman here, alone in the monastery.
Some of the monks speak to me, but other people act like I don't exist. Too bad the custodian isn't one of those.
Is the custodian causing you problems?
All the time. Apparently he has a wife somewhere, but that doesn't stop him. He's constantly strutting around in front of me.
And, what else?
What do you mean, what else? He's invited me to his home.
I could do something about it, if you liked.
No, I can deal with him. The last thing I need is you going around threatening people. It won't help me, and it definitely won't help the refugees.
Why is there a guard outside?
He's here because of me.
Because of you?
Yes. There was one time I just had enough of it all, of the way they treat us, and I almost slapped one of... But that doesn't matter.
What can you tell me about the custodian?
He's supposed to be in charge of all the guards and the security of the monastery. But really, he has a say in pretty much everything, including supplies. And that's why he probably thinks he can do whatever he wants.
All right, that's all I need to know.
Look, Henry, I know I can speak harshly, but I'm at the end of my tether. Last week Bohuslav died. Maybe you knew him. And nobody even blinked an eye. We desperately need help.
I'll do whatever's in my power. Tell me more about the situation here. All right, that's...
What the hell are you doing?
Just for a while, he says. To help your neighbours, he says.
He'll be able to get out of this on his own. Everything here is fine? These wounds have been well taken care of?
Christ above! I can't get a wink of sleep.
What are you making such a fuss about?
A fuss? Because of my leg, I have to stay here for at least another week. Hurts like fuck. And with everyone else moaning and groaning all night, I can't get any sleep.
Maybe I can make you something to help you sleep.
Oh, then for God's sake, do it quickly!
These wounds have been well taken care of. Philip, from Skalitz. I don't see any wounds, but he's shaking terribly. He's not reacting. But all I can see that's wrong with him is his leg. I have to ask Johanka. He just needs to sleep.
Yeah. Shit. What's going on?
You're not from Skalitz?
No, but please help me. I can't stay here.
What happened to you?
I was working on the building when the scaffolding up by the roof collapsed underneath me.
Well, and you're very lucky you survived at all.
Yes, that's what everyone tells me. But it's no use being alive if all I can do is lie here like a wet sack of barley.
Well, you're pretty battered, but I don't see anything that a few weeks' rest can't fix.
Weeks? My God, I have to get back to work sooner than that.
Is there anything I can do to help? It looks like they took care of your wounds.
When I was little, my father got trampled on by a horse, and an old hag from the village gave him some kind of purple herbs for it. And he got better very quickly.
And do you remember what the herbs were?
I don't. But there's supposed to be the whole cursed knowledge of the world in this place. Something has to be written about it. A herbarium, anything.
I'll try to find something.
Thank you. Thank you.
Huh? Shit. What's going on?
You look all right?
Mostly, but my leg still hurts.
Did the Cumans wound you?
That's what I tell the ladies. Truth is, I did myself a mischief while I was running away.
And do they rebandage it for you?
Occasionally. They told me they don't have enough bandages.
Well, that's no use. Those bandages need changing. I've got bandages, so I can take care of it.
Wonderful. Could you tell Brother Nicodemus?
I can do it myself.
I thought you were a blacksmith.
A long time ago. But unfortunately, I've had to learn a thing or two about the art of medicine since then.
Well, fine then.
He just needs to sleep. These wounds have been well taken care of. I'm not needed here. What's wrong with that man by the altar? He doesn't look wounded, but he's really pale. He doesn't react at all.
He had a broken leg. A bad one. The bone had come right through the skin. We tried to straighten it, but I don't know if we did it right. I'm not holding out much hope for him. I've seen folk in that state before, and it didn't end well.
My God, there has to be something we can do.
And what do you suggest? The monks won't help, and I don't know anyone else who can.
Well, I can try. I'll straighten his leg.
You?
Unfortunately, I've had occasion to try this sort of thing before. You have to place the bones as precisely as you can next to each other. It's hard, but you have to ignore any screams of pain. That's the only way to help him.
Well, fine. Try it then.
One of the sick men, Semek, is complaining about pain and the fact he can't work. He says he...
Semek? Is he one of our people?
No, he's a construction worker. He's bruised and confined to...
Henry, for God's sake, our neighbours are dying here. You're friends. There isn't time to waste on some construction worker's bruises. Oh, honestly, what were you thinking?
Listen, all I need to find out is the name of a herb.
Then go and look it up in a book. You've got your own herbarium, haven't you?
What happened to Philip?
Poor man. There was nothing wrong with him, and now he's getting worse every day.
But do you know why?
Maybe. He didn't run away from Skalitz, you see. He hid for days, among the corpses. If he got poisoned...
But what can we do?
Us? Nothing. Only Father Simon might have been able to save him. He knew a lot about poisons.
And where is he?
You know he left Skalitz years ago.
And does anyone know where he ended up?
If you believe the stories about a wild man in the woods, then Rovnar is the place to go.
You're the one who's in charge of the wounded.
Yes, I'm the infirmarius here. Time was I only had a few elderly monks who couldn't walk to take care of. Now I have this mess to deal with.
Monks so old they can't hold themselves up with their own legs.
Oh, if that were the only bodily function they could control. But I shouldn't talk like that. It's a blessing to live to such an age.
How are the wounded from Skalitz?
Some of them are well taken care of. But others are dying here needlessly. It's a good thing we have Johanka here. I'd never be able to manage on my own.
So you don't normally treat the wounded then?
Well, there were accidents, of course. A broken leg, someone who'd been kicked by a cow or bitten by a goat. But this, I've never dealt with the carnage of battle before.
If only it had been a battle. This was cold-blooded slaughter.
You were there? God be merciful to you and the dead and the wounded.
How can I help you?
Have you talked to Johanka?
I did.
Well, if you know something about it, then go and take a look. However, you don't look like you've studied the Hippocratic arts.
That's true. I'm the son of a blacksmith, but I have been around the wounded before. What do I do if I'm not sure of the treatment?
Come and speak to me. We'll see what we can do.
What do you think about the custodian?
Baron von Berg? Well, he does his job well. He keeps us safe here. And the last time I saw him was when I was rubbing ointment on his rash.
I heard he's been here a lot lately.
That's true. He comes to visit Johanka, but he's never here long and he always leaves unsatisfied.
Thank you. Why are they so badly provided for? People are crammed in next to each other, and some have to sleep outside. That can't be good for them. It gets freezing here at night.
I can't afford anything more for them.
How is that possible? You're the infirmarius. You decide how all the money gets spent.
But I have no say in how much money I'm given. And because the abbot's away, it's still the same amount I had when I was taking care of a few old men.
Can't you do anything? Won't the others help?
Unfortunately not. The brothers in the cloister aren't much interested in the external world. And the custodian has enough on his plate with the chaos in the region. Besides, his main concern is the smooth running of the monastery.
And the local custodian? His crew has enough provisions.
I tried him, but it seems he had some disagreement with Johanka, and now he won't give us anything.
I'll try to talk to him. Can't believe your conscience lets you leave the Skalitz locals in such a state.
I know. I'm ashamed. But my brothers believe it's all in God's hands now.
Even so, conditions here seem to me quite un-Christian.
You're not the only one.
I'd like to learn something from you.
And what can you do?
A bit of everything.
Can you now? But to be more precise, do you understand herbs and medicinal plants?
I do.
In that case, you've come to the right place. Someone who knows what they're doing will have it done in a jiffy. Go to the herb garden, take a good look at what's growing there, and then pull up the weeds in the herbaceous beds. Is that clear?
Clear. I can get cracking.
Not so fast. Have I even told you what I consider a weed? It's dandelions, stinging nettles, and thistles. Those plants have their use, but they've no business growing among the euphrasia and the mentha, or anywhere else in that garden for that matter.
I see.
Once you've cleared the garden of weeds, come back. And woe betide you if you pull up anything but weeds.
Don't worry, you've never had as good a gardener. How about some potion to induce heavy sleep?
Certainly. The old reliable.
Reliable?
Some of the brothers like a good sleep. And sometimes that's the only way to get one. I'll show you how.
Thanks.
I hope I can be of help to you, Knight.
Whose house is this?
It's our local custodians, the most esteemed Sir Sebastian, Baron von Berg.
You don't seem to think very much of him.
Well, of course I did. A man with a nose so stuck up that it acts as a rain funnel can't be all bad.
What does the custodian do anyway?
Well, he's meant to look after the local community and keep the peace.
But
in fact, he seems more interested in robbing everyone blind.
I'm much obliged.
Don't mention it.
I'm at your service, Sir Knight.
I'm helping at the infirmary now, and I came to...
Ah, and how is Johanka? Do you know her well?
Yes, I do.
Good, good. Does she ever talk about me?
I'm mainly here for supplies and to talk about the state of the wounded from Skalitz. They need blankets, food...
Well, that's not my problem. Let the infirmarius take care of it.
His hands are tied. Until the abbot comes back, he can't get anything.
And why should that interest me?
Because I'll pay you.
For supplies? But of course. That will be...
Oh, come off it. You get your supplies from the monastery for free. No one will bat an eyelid if you ask for more. Blankets can get chewed up by mice. Food can go off.
Yes. These things happen, certainly. And as long as the monastery needs my protection, they'll have to put up with it.
I brought some meat.
Thank you, Henry. Rich food will definitely help.
Are you holding him firmly?
Aye.
Done. It's done.
Did you weed the beds and leave what should be growing there alone?
I may have picked a couple of the other plants by mistake.
If it's only a couple, there's no harm done. I'm going to check with my own eyes.
Do you know anything about herbs?
I'm not an expert, but I know a little something. Is it urgent?
Well, one of the workers who was injured during construction would like to get back to work. He mentioned some purple flowers that would...
Herbs.
Oh, purple herbs that should help.
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but you can have a look in the herbarium here. There won't be too many purple herbs for bruises and sprains.
I've got something for you.
Really?
Drink this, and you'll fall straight to sleep.
Oh, thank you.
Dear Mistress Johanka, I come again in admiration of your selfless dedication. I would like to invite you to a fine banquet at my palace. You certainly have earned What business have you here, fellow? Who let you in?
I'm taking care of the wounded, as I'm sure you're aware.
Ah. Well then, run along and take care of them, and let me talk to Johanka. You're not needed here.
Wouldn't it be better to have the banquet here, Custodian?
What?
If you won't give the sick anything else, can you at least hold the banquet here?
Nobody's going to talk to me that way. Lock him up for the night and let him learn some manners.
Were you satisfied with my weeding?
You're a fine fellow. Truly, I couldn't have done a better job myself. You're a herbalist at heart. Here's the reward. You earned it.
I'll have to get something to eat. I'm starting to get hungry.
I'm at your service tonight.
I see there's not much going on around here. So you've stayed here on your own?
Quite so. All by myself. All the others were either killed by the Cumans or fled to Rattay.
I'm sorry to hear that. And what's keeping you here, alone?
My older brother ran away with the wandering players, so when our father was on his deathbed, he made me swear I'd never leave our home.
I can see you took your vow seriously.
I did. And it's starting to get dangerous around here. Again.
The Cumans?
If it were Cumans, I'd grab an axe and that would be that. But a week back, some rabble made their way through here. They begged me for food, and mark my words, they weren't taking no for an answer. If they'd been just a tad hungrier, I swear they would have stormed the cottage.
There are gangs like that around, true enough. I saw the mess they left behind. Savages.
It was horrible. People tried to find shelter in the church, but them dogs was waiting. They knew too well that's where folk would try to hide.
And where did you hide?
By the grace of God, I got my family away into the woods.
And I don't see your family with you. I hope those bastards didn't sniff them out.
No, it takes better man than them to track me down. I sent my wife to Rattay with some others.
Do you think folk will ever go back to their homes?
Oh, I don't know about Scalets, but the folk here are sure to want to come back. The only thing they're missing is spiritual support.
Do you mean the priest?
Indeed. When the land's at war, noblemen fight to protect their property. But simple folk want someone to tend their souls.
Of course. But it was the Scalets parish priest who ministered here, wasn't it?
He did. But there's been no sign of him since the attack. Or at least he's definitely not in Rattay among the refugees.
That's true enough. I didn't see him there.
But if you're interested, young fella, maybe you could help us find the priest we need here.
I can always ask. But I've heard where the Scalets priest went.
That's great news. Although I had my eye on another priest.
You might as well tell me who he is. What I heard about the Scalets priest might just be rumours.
True. Well then. A few years ago there used to be another priest in Scalets. Simon, I think his name was.
Simon? Father Simon, I remember him. That's the one who went missing, right?
Aye. I don't want to spread rumours, but they say he was in love with his housekeeper. And then she died somehow, poor thing.
Sodom and Gomorrah. Clerics today.
They're men, just like the rest of us, with man's passions. Well, to finish the story, Simon left the parish and ran away. You know that already. There was neither sight nor sound of him for a long time, until this spring he showed up here.
And what's he doing here?
That's just it. People say he's become a hermit.
All right. And where can I find him?
I couldn't tell you exactly, but you could start by talking to that girl's parents. Well, they live on a farm nearby, and it's likely they know more. They may even have had words with him.
I'll go and see what they have to say for themselves.
God go with you, lad, and I pray you find him. If some heathen stabs me in my sleep, I'd rather have a decent burial.
Don't worry. I'll bring someone.
Hey, watch it.
I'm glad you stopped by.
I'm looking for the priest, Father Simon, and I heard you might know of him.
Simon? What do you want him for?
I'm looking for the priest who used to take care of St. James, and the locals tell me they saw him around here.
I don't know if I can help you there. He'll never go back to his parish, if you ask me. Very well. What is it you want to know?
What went on between Simon and your daughter?
Nothing that hasn't happened before. Our Mary was his housemaid in Skalitz. She was pretty, very pretty. And he was young, and so things went the way they do between comely young folk. She came back home one day, heavy with child.
Yes, these things happen. What can you do?
I said as much. I was just glad our girl was provided for. Only she never had the chance to hold that babe in her arms. She didn't live through the birth.
I'm very sorry.
Such is a woman's lot in life. Men die in battle, and women in the arms of the midwife.
And what happened to Simon?
The poor man. He took it the worst. He was sure God's wrath smote Mary for her fornication.
That's rubbish. People lie together out of wedlock all the time, and God never smites them down.
That's just what I told him. But it's hardly my place to lecture a priest. And who knows? Maybe he was right. The Lord moves in mysterious ways. He was overflowing with grief. He barely spoke, didn't eat, refused to take a new housemaid. And then, one fine day, the presbytery was deserted. It took a good season before another priest came along.
Where can I find him? He's said to be wandering around here somewhere.
I heard that too, and I'm inclined to believe it, even though I haven't seen him myself.
How come?
After our poor Mary went to her rest, we used some of the money he'd paid us to put a cross up by the roadside. And lately, there's been wreaths of comfrey turning up next to it. I don't take them there, nor my husband neither.
You think Simon does?
Who knows? Maybe it's a miracle. I could believe anything. But there's not been fresh ones for a while, so perhaps he's moved on elsewhere again.
I see. Can you tell me where that cross is?
Certainly. There are settling tanks for the mines to the west of Skalitz. On the hill above them in the woods, there are several paths. Mary's cross is by one of them, close to the brook.
All right, thanks. I'll be going.
Very good then. And if you do find him, let him know that we have no hard feelings.
I'll tell him. This must be that cross. Mary's mother was right. Someone did lay flowers here recently.
I'll be committing this. Hey, you! What are you doing here?
I've come for the priest. Simon.
There's no one here called that.
There is. Do you take me for a fool?
All right. Maybe there is someone here. What of it? We're not going anywhere.
A few groschen to line your pockets would come in handy, wouldn't they?
A few coins wouldn't go amiss. Just how much would you be giving now?
What do you say to this?
I'd almost shake on that. Almost. Very well then. Ha! That's the easiest coin I've ever made. Well, that's that. We'll be off. The money won't spend itself, and I'm still famished.
Off you go.
Are you serious?
Oh, thank you, my son. I was beginning to fear I'd never get out of here alive.
They didn't look dangerous. The only thing at risk was your possessions.
I know, poor fools. But I was afraid they'd leave me here. What would I have done then? And to whom do I owe my salvation?
My name's Henry. You may remember me. I'm the son of the Scalit's blacksmith.
Your face does seem familiar. But listen, Henry, I can't help feeling you didn't stumble across me by accident.
It's true. I've come to ask a favor of you.
Me? What on earth could I do for you?
I need you to go back to St. James. The folk there need spiritual guidance. Scalit's is a burned-out shell, and many have died in St. James. They need a priest. Any priest.
I understand, but I have to disappoint you. I gave up my calling. Instead, I've given myself over to repentance.
I know your story, Father.
Then you know what I'm guilty of.
Yes, and I don't want to try to make light of it. Your conscience is your own affair, but I know that deep down you're a good man.
You don't know what you're saying. You don't know me.
But I know what you did. Many priests break God's commandments willy-nilly and aren't the least ashamed.
That doesn't absolve me of my sins. God's law is set, no matter how often it's violated.
You're certainly right, but the people need you. And forgive me for being blunt, but while you can leave the presbytery if you choose, it doesn't absolve you of your duty to Christian folk.
But I'm a sinner. I'm not fit to guide anyone. I'm unworthy to do so.
Priests, bishops, monks, abbots, they're all sinners. Even the Holy Father himself is a sinner. You've done your penance, and now your people need you.
You're probably right. It is my duty. At least for a time, until they find someone better.
I don't think I'll find anyone better in a hurry.
All right. I'll take what I can carry and go back to St. James.
Thank you. Your parishioners will be very grateful. I need help with treatment.
And what's wrong with you?
Oh, nothing. But Philip from Scalit's is dying. He's lying in Sasau and won't last long.
Slowly now. What happened to him?
Nobody knows much. He's not wounded, but I heard he was hiding from the Cumans for days in a pile of carcasses.
The Lord have mercy. The living should never lie with the dead. His intestines must be purged, but even then he's in God's hands.
How do I clean his intestines?
It might surprise you, but you'll have to give him alcoholic spirits. The purest you can get your hands on. The best is distilled from Artemisia. It'll make him a bit delirious, but it'll help. I'll show you how to prepare it.
Good health to you.
I found you a priest.
Really? That's wonderful news. Who is he?
The former parish priest of St. James. I persuaded him to return to live among you, at least for a while.
So you found him?
Yes. He was roaming the woods around here.
Thank God. You'll see. Once there's a priest, people will soon be back.
I hope so.
I've put together a small sum for a new piece. So I thought a portion should definitely go to you, as a reward.
I couldn't possibly take it. You'll need the money to rebuild the village.
As you wish, then. I shan't weigh you down with it.
So, farewell to you. And I hope he gets here soon. Just don't you let him run off again.
I'll keep an eye on him myself. Godspeed to you, Henry, and thank you for your help.
What are the...
Hopefully I have what you need.
Thank you. With any luck, I'll soon be feeling better. If you find the time, stop by to see me in a few days.
Tell me more about the situation here. All right, that's all I need to know. How are the sick and wounded faring? I don't think there's anything more I can do for them.
You did what you could. Truly. I don't know what I would have done without you. You saved a lot of lives.